I've got the looks and the charm of an old movie star. Cary Grant, if you will, so I find it bizarre that this girl should refuse to step into my car. She must be shy, she'll come around, it's just a matter of time. Aurora, Aurora.
Hey there, Screen Beans, and welcome to Screen Snark, the podcast that celebrates all the shows that are in our minds, on our eyes, and in our hearts. I am Rachel Quirky Shank.
And I am Matt, a.k.a. Stormageddon.
What's up, party people?
We are here.
We are living.
We have
another fortnight, another life lived, like you do.
Like you do. Just, whatever you can do to survive and get through. I'm very excited about this episode. We have one of my favorite performers on the show. He is a singer. He's a dancer. He is an actor. He's a voice actor. He is a crazy person backstage at burlesque shows. He is the incredible Abe Goldfarb. Abe, welcome.
Thank you so much for having me. And I want to be very clear. I'm extremely well-behaved backstage at shows. I am not... I care very much about everyone's comfort. Yeah. I'm also extremely neurotic.
Oh, yes.
Yeah,
Yes, that's true. That is absolutely very true. I meant he's just a fun person to be around.
Oh, well, thank you very much.
I treasure moments backstage with you. I treasure them. I don't remember much. I have the memory of a goldfish.
But you mentioned one
that's
specific
because it's
moment.
Very precious to me.
You mentioned one specific moment.
No, and it was I'm not... Yeah, and I love it, and it's beautiful to me. I know it seems strange, but it was magic to me.
But what was the thing that you talked about before we started recording?
Oh, shall
yes,
I?
Please.
Please.
That we joked that we were doing an X-Men themed show at what was the venue? I can't. It doesn't matter.
Might have been Webster Hall.
I think it was Webster Hall. Yeah, that's such a weird, cool venue.
Oh yeah.
And we were somehow we were talking about the logistics of frozen poop dildos.
Yeah.
Checks
yes.
out.
Yeah. Just like building on each other. Our listeners know.
What else to say, really, on that matter? What
we?
remains?
5, 6 years younger and wilder.
My God.
We could go outside and touch each other's faces, It's a different time, a different world.
As a germaphobe, this has been heavenly for me.
I'm sure, yeah.
Just everyone has to stay away.
As a newly christened germaphobe, yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Exactly. I think we're all a little more germophobic these days, I'd say.
I'm not like Howie Mandel level, but I'm...
We got so nasty for capitalism, and I will never forgive us for that.
Yeah. I think my highlight moment with Abe at a burlesque show was when you were hosting the Nerdlesque Festival. And I think it's maybe 10 minutes before we're going to go out, and Abe comes to me wearing his cape and holding his toy lightsaber and goes, "Oh, by the way, Matt, I think I'm going to force choke you from the sound booth, so just play along." I was like, "Sure."
Yeah.
And it was easily
You were very, very nice to do so.
It was great. It was just the funniest thing. It got a laugh, and it was just delightful to be force choked from the stage.
The important thing is the force choking was consensual.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Always. Consensual force choking is key.
Hey, you gotta ask.
Absolutely.
You gotta make sure everybody is enthusiastic about that force choking.
Absolutely.
It's a must. It's absolutely a must. But this is not a podcast about force choking.
Or poop dildos.
For that matter.
Or
Not
poop
yet,
dildos.
at least. Let's see.
Give it
Let's
a
see how-
year.
Yeah. Bring it back.
It is a podcast about what we have watched most recently. And as always, I will go first, and we will all take turns. And I have decided to embark on an adventure that I've been putting off for way too long, and that is get caught up on the Godzilla King Kong cinematic universe in time for Kong versus Godzilla.
The Monsterverse.
Finally watching the Monsterverse and finally watching Godzilla 2014, which I had never seen before, but had always wanted to. And so I watched that today, and it was phenomenal. I don't understand why people didn't like this movie. I mean, yes, there was less monsters punching monsters than other Godzilla movies, but it's such a good movie. Also,
let's be fair.
Also,
It
Ken
made
Watanabe in anything.
Watanabe's incredible. It made $500 million at the global box office. This was,
That's true.
money was made. But I do hear complaints that it's not as action oriented as people would like. and that it's more consumed with like mood than with necessarily storytelling or even about the human characters. I'm totally keen to get your take on this because I love it to death.
Yeah, I love the human characters. So it's funny. I, of course, have seen Aaron Taylor-Johnson and Elizabeth Olsen as Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver for so long now, which happened after this, that when I saw them as a married couple in this movie, immediately I went, oh, wait, no, they're not actually brother and sister. What am I doing? But I got that moment of like, exactly. It was like, what is
red
happening?
light, red light
together.
I thought we were done with this. We were Game of Thrones ended.
You
like
got your
a
incest
million
in my
years ago.
fan
We're
fiction.
done with this. You got your fan fiction in my incest.
But yeah. No, I really enjoyed it, though. I think the human characters are great. So here's my comparison point, and I feel like, Abe, you'll especially appreciate this. A lot of people complained about the Transformers movies years ago because all of the human characters seemed to be the focus, and Michael Bay didn't know what to do with the giant robots. And I was afraid of getting a similar thing with this, right? Like, not enough focus on the giant monsters, but focusing on the human. But it turns out it had nothing to do with there being too much human stuff in the Transformers movie. It was just not interesting. This stuff was interesting. Like, I felt these characters were interesting.
Okay.
I thought that the world they were building was interesting. The science was interesting, and the faux science was interesting. Also, it was wall-to-wall character actors. Like, the minute I saw David Strathairn, I'm butchering that name.
David Strathairn.
Strathairn, I was so excited because I love him. I love The Expanse. He was great in that. And so, like, which this, of course, was many years
You should
before.
absolutely, by the way, check out his work with John Sayles.
Oh, really?
It's basically, the two of them are like a collective cornerstone of American independent filmmaking.
Ooh.
And you really should. Like Mate One and Limbo, and there's a whole bunch of other stuff.
Cool. I will definitely check that out.
Sorry,
but
go
like every time a new character actor that I knew from something else walked on screen, I was like, this is great. And like, I think that the human stories are really interesting. I thought that, I mean, and Aaron Taylor-Johnson's a good actor. He's done a lot of good acting. He's also done a lot of sort of non-acting. Because like, while I like him as Quicksilver, he was mostly charisma. He wasn't like, there was not a lot to that character in the movies he was in other than kind of being quippy. But like, in Kick-Ass, he was great, and I thought as Ford Brody in this, he was great. I cared about the story. I cared about the characters. And Godzilla looked awesome. The monster stuff looked awesome. Like, I was afraid it was going to look, you know, you never know with CGI how it's going to look, but, like, the way the water moved around Godzilla, the way the bug monsters looked, they were
Well, have you seen Gareth Edwards' other films? Because he's got a very specific touch.
I don't
And
think so.
I think the reason he got this one was from a movie he made called Monsters, which is just about like two people traveling across Central America, and there happen to be giant monsters everywhere.
Oh,
and
wow.
it was shot for like no money, and it's all atmosphere, and there's a sense of genuine awe and wonderment. And I think that's why he got picked for Godzilla, and it's such a good fit. It's such a good fit.
Yeah. Like, I never felt like I couldn't follow the action either. Another comparison to the aforementioned Transformers by Michael Bay is, especially in the first couple of movies, you couldn't really see the robots. The effects were a little weird as far as following the action. But there was never a moment towards the end of the movie where Godzilla's fighting the creatures. And I was like, what's happening? I don't know what's going on. Like, it was very clear what was happening. And I also damn this movie for using the atomic breath as like a wrestler pop, like this idea of like you're waiting for the atomic breath and then it happens.
It was the best.
So good.
My audience literally cheered.
Screamed.
Yes, it was
Screamed
incredible.
in the theater.
Yeah.
And I think a big part of why that works is because it's not wall to wall that stuff.
Yeah.
Like, it really builds up to it so that when he unleashes that atomic breath, you are just like, holy shit, it is earned.
Doesn't he do it like really close quarters?
The second
Like he's
time.
like
Yeah.
right in it. Yeah.
Like that scene where he kills the I think that's the female at that point, the female creature, not the male one that could fly. Like, he grabs it by the head.
Right.
Does the atomic breath in its mouth and then rips the head off. And it was just very like almost wrestling style, just kind of like this ridiculously over the top nonsense. And yeah, I loved it from start to finish. Like, I thought like the very beginning of the movie, like I was wondering where it was going. But once the reactor blows up and we see crazy Bryan Cranston when he's evolved to full crazy Bryan Cranston, I was like, oh, this is
Yes, he's gone full Cranston.
Cranston. Oh, I love it. Excellent.
Well, I mean,
Cranston is great.
he years after the film brought up a problem that he had with it, and I kind of get where he was coming from. And I say this as a huge fan of the film. He thought it was a mistake to kill off his character as early as they did.
Yeah.
And on the one hand, I think it's vital. It's a great like story moment. It's a great emotional moment. On the other hand, yeah, I would have loved for him to, because Cranston was like, they should have sacrificed me in the third act.
Yeah.
Instead of like, in the transition to act 2.
Especially after you've been just like drilling that Bryan Cranston is in this in the marketing.
Oh, but I love that though. I'm a big fan of the
Bryan
Hitchcock
Cranston.
thing.
Oh,
I'm a
he's
big fan
gonna
of the Hitchcock
kick
thing where
it
you're like, this movie
around.
stars
And then
Janet Leigh.
gone.
But
Yeah,
no, he's
totally.
Janet Leigh. He's the one who's like right in the front of all the marketing, and then you're like, wait, and I love that shit.
No, I agree. I think, but I can also see the third act, like especially with Ford, like on the boat trying to get the bomb out to sea or whatever. Like I could totally see him running at the last minute,
Yeah.
like throwing him off the boat or something. Like I'll take it out to sea and blowing up with
Sure.
it or something. Yeah, no, I totally get that.
Sure. But I would actually say, interestingly, one of the reasons that I love the film is directly in conflict with one of the reasons that you love the film, which is to say that I think the film is not particularly interested in humans. I think the film presents the humans as essentially, and I'm not saying that in a
Right.
bad way, like it's bad writing. I'm saying that like it is a film that views these humans much in the way Godzilla
Sure.
does, which is
Yeah.
to say they are simply there. Now we're seeing Godzilla from like the human point of view, which is one of the things that makes it so great because you're like, holy shit, that is enormous, like
Yeah.
beyond comprehension. But the film eventually takes a pretty similar point of view to Godzilla. He is an unstoppable force of nature, and we are basically just fleas.
Yeah.
And any and all of the human conflicts fade into something just almost, it's more than petty. It's almost serenely disregarded.
Yeah.
The human element of the film. And I think there's something that might have been one of the reasons that people didn't care for it. Because you're spending a lot of time with these people, and the film eventually makes it clear they don't matter.
Not at all.
Like they could be there or not. It makes no difference to Godzilla.
You love Walter White? Don't care. He did.
Yeah.
Bye. Get over it.
But there's
Yeah.
something almost like sort of Terrence Malick-esque about the way the film views nature.
Yeah.
That there is like, it's just something, or even maybe Werner Herzog, the way he talks about nature as just being like, I'm paraphrasing, but like an apathetic, hungry set of eyes.
Yeah. Totally.
Absolutely. Like nature does not care.
Yeah.
You're either there to be ignored or consumed. And that's one reason
Deal
that I
with
think it's a
it.
special film.
Yeah, I recently went back and I rewatched the original Godzilla.
Oh, it's so good.
And it's beautiful. It was partly like inspired because I watched House or Houseu, depending, and I was just like, I need to watch more movies that are like doing a genre commenting on atrocities done to this people by Americans, very much Americans. So I went and watched it, and after getting through that, I was like, I can really understand like a lot of where the thinking was with this piece, because like we've really like evolved Godzilla, pun intended, to be this like wrestling face hero, like Godzilla, friend to all children, instead of Godzilla, analogy for like, mass murdering people with bombs. Like,
well, he's a lot like Superman in that way, and that he is a kind of all-purpose, goes with the era national symbol. And I've got the box set from Criterion of like all the Godzilla pictures, and it's amazing watching them change. I mean, by the time there were 3 films in with Godzilla versus King Kong, it's a straight up media satire. It's after 2 doom-struck black and white apocalypses, you're in something a little bit more satirical and a little bit sort of kookier. But it's so malleable. It's all adaptive to the period.
Totally.
And I love that. You know,
Yeah.
this is a character who means what you need it to
Yeah,
mean,
and I think
depending on
I
who
think
you are.
what makes it really great about this movie too is like there's so many human moments, but you're right, not with the humans, but with Godzilla. Like after he defeats one of the monsters and collapses and is laying on the ground breathing heavy, so is Ford, and they like make eye contact. And that moment, while it's meant to compare them, is not about Ford. It humanizes Godzilla in that moment and how tired he is.
Yeah.
And
That's
it's-
right. That's
and
exactly
it's so
right.
good
Yes.
because you're like, oh man, I care about. Well, actually, mostly I care about Godzilla. Look at him, he's so tired. And like even at the end of the movie, when he's like
Yeah.
lying on the ground dormant, and the idea is you're supposed to think he's dead, which of course he's not. He just breathes, and all like everything stops. Like just his nostrils flare, and everything stops, and then he just gets up, completely ignoring everything going around him. Just gets up and leaves. It's just such a perfect moment.
None of it
to
matters.
show, like, right. Like he just did what he came to do, and he's done.
Yeah, just like
like,
any
"Fuck, I
like
better go
any
back home."
wild animal. Like I did it. I protected my turf from invaders. Cool. Going back to chill in my sea cave. Don't worry about it.
I mean,
I'm
literally
done.
the moment of the film for me, the one human moment that is like genuinely important, is between Strathairn and Watanabe, which is literally the moment when the film makes its entire philosophy clear through Watanabe, where it's like, just let him fight. You know,
Then fight.
there is nothing you can do. It's like you have two forces of destructive nature, and anything you do to try and stop them clashing is like pointless. The moment when the camera just cranes in on Watanabe and he says, "Let them fight." He has actually my favorite moments. Him and John C. Reilly have my favorite moments in the Monsterverse.
Yeah.
You know, because Watanabe. I mean, have you
So not
seen
yet.
all
This
of
is the start of
Monsterverse
me
films?
watching the rest of them. I'm very excited to take on Kong
Okay.
Skull Island, especially since I love Kong, and I've heard like the reviews were so mixed, but like I love King Kong and everything about King Kong. So
I love it to death.
I had a really good time in Kong Skull Island. I found it immensely enjoyable.
It's fabulous. And I love Godzilla King of the Monsters, which brings back Watanabe for another yet
line.
again, he has the human moment of the film. And he delivers it in Japanese. Apparently it was written in English, and I'll leave you to discover what it is, because it is a moment.
that's awesome.
But like Watanabe just decided, apparently, he was like, this needs to be in Japanese between me and Godzilla. Like, it is so fucking
What I
dope.
love about Watanabe, I've always loved Watanabe in
Brilliant.
so many different films, but what I love about having recently seen him in this, and of course seen him in Detective Pikachu, is that his level of acting and seriousness is identical in both movies.
Yeah.
Both movies. He is he embodies a character that takes the world he's in so seriously. And whether it's Pokemon,
Well, I mean, if you want to see Ken Watanabe like at his absolute best, I mean, there's stuff like Tampopo, which is a really classic Japanese picture about a noodle shop. I think he plays like a young yakuza in that one, and he's also great in the Japanese language remake of
Ooh.
Unforgiven.
I've not seen that. That
Which,
sounds
Ooh.
excellent.
Yeah. Like he plays like basically the old samurai gunslinger.
Ooh.
I mean, the guy is
He
just
really
a fucking
is.
legend.
And like it's
I
funny
love
because
it. Just the gravitas that he brings to like the silly things, you know. It's just like, I'm gonna ground this. I'm gonna ground this in reality. Yeah, there's an island of like Bulbasaurs. Get over it. Reality.
well, and also
That's right.
like the "let them
That is
fight"
correct.
line. I'd been seeing gifs of it forever, especially with Godzilla vs Kong coming out. Like that's the gift they've been using.
Yes.
And yet, even though I'd
Yes.
seen it so many times, when I got to that moment, I tweeted, and I've reached this moment, and it is everything I wanted. Like, seeing it before didn't take the power out of it. It's just such a great delivery and moment.
Well, because it's underplayed. It's a momentous thing, and yet it is played so quietly,
Yeah.
and so it loses none of that power because it is not breaking a sweat, trying to sell you on the momentousness of it. It's Watanabe just
Yeah.
like breathing.
Yeah.
Oh, it's
Excellent.
mwah,
I'm very excited
so
to
beautiful.
explore the rest of these movies.
Yum,
There-
yum, yum, yum.
This is what I want from a Godzilla film. And I've watched Godzilla since, I've seen probably all of the films. I may have missed one or two, but like from the campy to the kooky to the serious, like it's all what I need from Godzilla. It's like what you said. It's like it's what we need it to be in the moment. And this version accomplishes so much that I didn't expect it to accomplish. And I don't know what I was expecting even. Like, I loved it. It was great.
I would say it moves from this one into a more kind of like kooky, crazy, fun, like almost 70s Godzilla territory once you move into like Skull Island and Godzilla King of the Monsters. Godzilla King of the Monsters is basically a non-stop monster mash.
Ooh.
And I mean, I heard complaints about that and I was like, no, this is actually quite magical.
There is no pleasing you, Godzilla fan.
Truly.
I see.
Have you seen Godzilla Final Wars?
No, I don't think I have.
No.
Godzilla Final Wars, that was made for the anniversary. It was like, I forget which anniversary it was, but it was essentially drawing to a close a period of Godzilla filmmaking. There wasn't a Godzilla for several years after that. And it was directed by Ryuhei Kitamura, the director of Versus, who's just an incredible cult film director who got a shot with a mega-budget Godzilla picture. And I saw this back in 2005. I think it might have been the 50th anniversary. And they showed it at the New York Asian Film Festival. The suits from Toho were like in the house. And
Whoa.
And it is the most, I think the only word for it is demented, because it's basically a remake of Destroy All Monsters, but like it throws in everything. There's a scene where Godzilla kills the 1998 Roland Emmerich Godzilla. Like, that's literally in the movie. There's a scene where Godzilla's traveling around the world just shit-housing monsters. And one of them is the 1998 Godzilla from the American film.
Genius.
And it's such, I mean, it's pure shade. But I had to admire it.
That's amazing.
But yes, if you can find it, Godzilla Final Wars.
I will definitely check that out.
Incredible film.
Yeah.
I'm into that. Yeah, the more we talk about Godzilla, the more I'm just like, I want to watch every Godzilla film and just like watch it change and grow and move through. Like, it's just one of those. It's like you said it perfectly, Abe. It's like Superman. Like, what is Godzilla saying? Through the lens of like the creative team, through the lens of like what the zeitgeist is at the time, like
what are our anxieties?
What are anxieties? Like you can really even in the few Godzilla movies that I have had the pleasure of watching, it's like, oh yeah, like we're concerned about warfare, we're concerned about climate apocalypse, we're concerned about Matthew Broderick still having a film career, you know.
First of all, that is cruel and unwarranted.
I know it was,
because Matthew Broderick happens
he's a treasure.
to be a fabulously talented man.
Yeah,
and I will hear no ill of him.
None offense to Matthew Broderick. It was just a very good setup to it.
Election and Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Oh, genius.
He's done a lot of work besides, but they cemented his place in the Pantheon. His work in Election is like fabulously not vain.
Oh, yeah. I didn't
beautiful.
Understand the unified theory of Matthew Broderick until I watched Ferris Bueller, and it's like, okay, now I understand you.
Yeah.
In a way that I didn't before, and it like changed a lot of the filmography I had watched of his prior. I was like,
sure.
Gotcha. No.
Right.
No, Broderick is
absolutely
very fine.
But yeah, so I mean,
Absolutely.
in closing, I think what really strikes me about this version of Godzilla is that it wants you to give as much as it's giving. Like it's not it unlike like a smashy monster pick where you kind of just tune out and watch the nonsense. This wants something. It wants your attention. It wants you to be absorbed in this world. And I think what helps it is, even though you're absolutely right, Abe, that the movie and Godzilla doesn't care for these humans, the humans are still written well, and they still have personality and emotions, and like you worry about them. You know, even in those brief moments, like you were saying, like the Ken Watanabe moment that we're talking about, like the movie is absolutely leading up to that moment, but you may not have even known it until you got to that moment. And then the whole third act after that is exactly that.
Right.
Let them fight, and everything that happens as a result. Just nonstop.
Nonstop.
Oh,
Nonstop.
Oh, you're sad that you only saw Godzilla through news footage for most of this movie? Get ready. You're going to get up in there. Don't panic.
You're gonna be giving Godzilla a cinematic colonoscopy in a matter of minutes.
It's gonna be.
It is.
It's like you're there.
yeah,
gonna be
right
great.
in his asshole. His scaly rectum.
On the list of words.
Well, that's the
Good night,
3-word
everybody.
review. Thank you so much. His scaly rectum.
Scaly rectum is actually my burlesque name.
Oh man. All right. Well, let's.
Give it up for Scaly Rectum.
Oh man, burlesque names.
It's beautiful.
Thank you.
But
Poem.
that said, yes.
So, Matt, that feels. Oh, okay. Yeah, I was.
All that said,
Yeah, Matt. If you had to sum up, Godzilla.
Godzilla.
It's just Godzilla, right?
No subtitle. No
It's
subtitle.
not. It doesn't have like a cool. I always forget. I always just call it like Cranston Godzilla. That's how. If you had to sum up the one that had Walter White in it, that one, in just 3 words, and you cannot use Godzilla or his scaly rectum because I already took that. How would you describe this particular?
I feel like I'm
Godzilla?
cheating, but thanks to Abe and Ken Watanabe, I think it's best said by just the 3 words: "Let them fight." It's just.
You know, I knew you were going to do that. I knew as soon as you said it was going to be
like
this.
those
Godzilla,
are
I
the
was
best
like,
3
he's gonna
words in the
let
whole
them
movie,
fight.
and it really is like it leads up to that.
Yeah.
Ow! It couldn't be.
ow,
that.
my balls. Couldn't be that. Couldn't be ow, my balls. How would you do 3 words?
Look, it's
Got it.
Godzilla.
Nailed it.
Got it. Nailed it.
Godzilla, you guys. 3 words.
Whoa, big monsters.
So
Oh, that's so.
no, we have
can
to.
we
have
stay
to
in
move on
this
because
one? Can we stay
it's
No.
funny.
here?
I watched
I don't-
Godzilla
oh,
because I've been
boy.
wanting to watch this series of movies, but also because I didn't want to yet commit to the thing that you're both about to talk about, and I had a feeling it might come up anyway. And by the way, just for the record, if people care about spoilers, fine. I don't. If you want to spoil some stuff, that's fine. I'm going to watch the 4-hour thing eventually. But Rachel, what is the most recent thing you have watched?
Well, way
Bury the lead.
to give up the ghost real quick. It's 4 hours. I'm talking about JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. No, I wish. I'm not done with.
I'm talking about Vim Vender's director's cut of Until the End of the World.
Yeah. No, I'm obviously this week. Zack Snyder presented his Justice League, unto the world, and it was fine. It was okay. It was a movie. It did a movie thing. I wasn't mad. I was immensely distracted by the 4.3 ratio. Just like, Zach, no, you can't fit like 7 superheroes in this square. You can't do it. It is impossible.
I'm going to let you go on for a while, but there's rebuttal.
Oh
coming.
boy, it kept taking me out because everything looked like when shots looked really nice, they looked really nice, and then I would just be like, what is on the side of these mountains? Zach, what are you doing? But other than that, I think it was a really solid movie. I think that Zach did his vision in the way that he wanted to, and sometimes that's kind of weirdly refreshing. I never want to watch it again, ever. Cyborg's got
God.
a really good arc. Yeah, that's it. 4 hours later, I'm like, it's cool.
I'm guessing
I got
also,
not
Abe,
much
you
else.
as well, your thing that you have most recently watched is as well Zack Snyder's Justice League.
What? Yes, that's correct.
What the most talked about thing on the internet is something that 2 out of 3 people watched here.
Yeah.
What?
So I mean, I'm gonna let you use all the gas in the tank, and then I'm gonna swoop in, Caped Crusader like, and deliver my take.
And
Because
and save the 4:3 ratio.
Oh, we're gonna talk about aspect ratios. Don't you fucking worry about that.
Snyder's IMAX vision that came to me directly on my old ass TV.
Oh, we're gonna talk about that because, first of all, that is a classic aspect ratio. Talk your shit. talk your shit, and I'm going to sit back.
Okay, I found it very distracting. I looked up Zack Snyder's reason why, that it is a classic aspect ratio, but I found a lot of the choices he was making in the framing were choices that one makes as a filmmaker filming in widescreen. A lot of the blocking that the actors were doing cut them off in weird ways. Like Diane Lane's walking across the frame and then half of her is gone. It just I found it very concerning, because I think if you want to shoot your movie in a square, go for it. Like, live your dreams, chase your bliss, but maybe don't put all your heroes in a widescreen formation and then try and squish them all in like it's a phone booth. But the aspect ratio only took me out like for a few moments. Other than that, I was just like, this movie is moving at a clip. Like, it didn't feel oppressively 4 hours, but I do think if it was a 2.5 hour film, be pretty solid. I'd like it at 2.5 hours. Cut the Snyder cut is what I'm saying. All right, Abe, kill me. Take me out.
If Zack Snyder was a mohel, he would make cocks twice as long. But here's the thing. Okay, I'm gonna say right now, I had like a crazily emotional experience with this film, and that I was drawn into it completely. I'm going to say right from the get-go, I am a massive fan of Zack Snyder. I am not one of those people who agitated for the release of the Snyder Cut, because generally speaking, that's internet drama. Keep it 75,000 miles away from me.
Yeah.
And a lot of the people agitating for it acted like giant pieces of shit. But I've always been a fan of his because I think he genuinely does things differently. Mm-hmm. You know, and I think he's one of the few filmmakers working right now who is consumed in the construction of a moment. Like, when you're watching one of his films, you can either complain that something doesn't drive the plot forward, or that there's too much slow-mo or whatever, or you can recognize that this is a dude who is obsessed with vibes and moments, and he wants you to stay in them and drink them in. And I think, like, the codex for Zack Snyder, like the Rosetta Stone for Zack Snyder, is Sucker Punch. And I think that that's the thing where if you watch it and you hate it, you just don't like Zack Snyder, because that is extremely him. Yeah. You know, and I know a lot of people didn't like it. I, myself, and Rosebud, my partner, absolutely fucking love it. But for me, his Justice League is really second only to Sucker Punch in terms of revealing just what it is that drives this dude. Like, it feels astonishingly personal in a way that superhero movies really never feel. Especially in the age of the cinematic universe, where effectively part of the allure is the consistency of the brand. Where it's just like, you know, I enjoy Marvel movies a lot. I love them. I think they're fantastic. I also know that I'm going to see the latest episode of the Marvel show when I go and see the movie. They're my stories.
It's very samey. Yeah.
Well, I won't say samey. I will say there is a consistency of craft that is a product of a studio, you know, where there are occasionally eccentric or idiosyncratic, things that people get in there, like Taika Waititi or James Gunn. But by and large, it's basically meant to be consistently that thing that you're going to see the new episode of. And Zack Snyder is a really weird dude. Now, he is absolutely a gym bro. He loves going to the fucking gym. And yet he is not... I actually don't find his work very macho at all. I mean, excepting 300, which is literally based on, like, a fascist book. But, like, it's the best rendition of that fascist book you could ever have. But one of the things that marks his work is masculine vulnerability. You know, like Watchmen, which I think is about as good an adaptation of that as you could ever get, and I think is quite remarkable, is as much about how incredible it is to live in a world with superpowered people as it is about how awful it is to be one of them, and like the ways in which it exposes you to untold reams of vulnerability. You know, And I think, I mean, but also he's a deconstructionist. Watchmen's a deconstructionist film. So is Sucker Punch. And I don't know how you take it much further. With his Justice League, he almost does. It's a movie about orphans. And what got me so much about it was just like, he loves mirrored sets of people. He loves expressing a theme. He loves expressing a similar theme through several different characters in the same piece in a kind of kaleidoscopic way. And in this one, every single character is orphaned. Wonder Woman can't go back to Themyscira. Superman was orphaned twice. Batman was orphaned as a kid. Fucking the Flash's dad is in prison. Yeah. Cyborg, orphaned. Cyborg even still has his dad, but he's effectively an orphan. His dad, in giving him these powers, orphaned him, cut him off completely. And the film takes, and of course Aquaman, who rejects his heritage. He's almost a willful orphan. Mm-hmm. And of course, this is all very serious talk for what is a comic book movie, but he's treating it like high art, and I think he earns it. Like, I think he's making he's making images that are so mythic and so awesome in the classic sense of like, this is filled with awe. It's a vibe I haven't gotten from any other superhero movie, and I spent half of it laughing at his audacity and half of it just sitting back like, wow. Like I was watching it with Rosebud, and there's that scene where Aquaman goes into the sea, and this young woman from the village sings an entire song as he walks into the sea. And when you get a minute into it, you kind of start to laugh because you're like, you're going to do the whole song, Zack Snyder? And then another minute goes...
This movie's 4 hours, Zach. Could we walk a little faster? Could we?
Oh, no. That's exactly what I don't want. I don't want him to walk faster.
You and I watched very different movies.
I want that whole song to play the fuck out because that is the vibe.
2 musical numbers in this?
That's right, homie.
Happening?
That's right.
What are we
doing? That's why it rules, is because the movie is just like, fuck it. I have 4 hours. I'm going to stretch my legs, and I'm going to immerse you in the vibe.
And you're going to watch every second of it, Rachel, because you do media criticism podcasts.
And I find something, as much as Zack Snyder is operating in like a pop vernacular, and in a pop genre, mm-hmm. He's kind of doing something that I don't see anybody outside of art filmmakers do, in like letting moments just sit. Most comic book cinema is like, hurry up and go, get to the next plot point, go get the doodad, get your character development in on schedule, and move on. Mm-hmm. And with this one, he's so fundamentally unconcerned with meeting your expectations of what you're getting when. I mean, there's no particular structure to the first half of the film. It's just, we're meeting a bunch of people, and people are having conversations, and things are happening, and we see them arrive places, and we see the scene happen, and we see them leave the place. It's a kind of unhurried thing. I'm not trying to, like, listen, Snyder made some remark about the fact that, First Cow was in the same aspect ratio and they'd make a great double bill. And it's very funny, also because it's awesome to imagine Zack Snyder watching First Cow. But, if you're going to make a comparison, Kelly Reichardt has a very similar interest in just letting you sit in the scene. It's just that they're working in 2 completely different vernaculars. And watching Snyder's Justice League, I was like, man, if you don't vibe with this in the first 15 minutes, you are going to be in agony. And for me, I was just like, holy shit. Not only does this expose the 2017 Justice League as an act of vandalism, it goes in such a different direction from what I expect from any other superhero movie. This doesn't feel studio noted to the death. This feels like a guy who was making a movie about loss, incurred one of the greatest losses a human being can ever experience, and then went back and effectively revisited this film with all of the grief and understanding that comes from that. And I just think I think there's something really powerful about that. It's a film that is consumed with loss. And of course, that stuff was there textually when he shot it. There's very little in it that's like new footage. It's a few minutes. But, I mean, whatever
my
he did
biggest
with it now
question
feels
about
informed by grief.
sorry to interrupt, Abe. But my biggest question, my biggest question about it. So I did see the
please,
assholes
please.
version of Justice League. He doesn't get a name anymore. And like I was. Fuck yeah, fair enough.
He's
Fair
not
enough.
Voldemort. Just fuck Joss Whedon. He's
yeah,
not
it's
Voldemort.
Joss
Fuck
Whedon.
him.
He's done terrible things.
That's fair.
We name him,
just
we call him.
He's
sucks.
a petty, sleazy human.
Yeah, who we
That's
all
also
knew
true.
treated his actors like garbage, and we just kind of ignored it because it was
Yes.
because we really liked Buffy.
Honestly, yes.
Like I knew about Chris
Yeah.
But sorry.
McCarthy when I watched Angel. Like I knew.
Oh no,
the
yeah,
shit
but
she
so
went
like
through.
I saw Joss Whedon's
But
Justice
I'm
League,
sorry, but you were saying
at home way after it had been in theaters, and like I didn't. So many people viscerally hated it, and I didn't. I haven't viscerally hated anything in the DCEU. I've been disappointed at moments, but like with that one, I was more disappointed. I think because I could see the studio involvement and like the Joss Whedon-ness of it all, right? Like especially the reshoots and some of the humor. Like there were some genuinely great moments between Flash and Superman in that original version, except that they had no place in that movie. They weren't part of that movie. Yeah. And that's because
None
like
of
it
them are
doesn't
there
make sense. And
in
so
the-
that
in the
like
Snyder
hearing
Cut.
you
None
talk
of them
about
are
the
there.
Snyder Cut
Yeah.
this way makes me more interested to watch it because like there are so many people on the internet, I'm sure both of you know this as well, obviously being on the internet, that people just want to hate shit to hate it. And like that was my heart. That's what I wrestled with most with the DCEU. Like I unironically loved Aquaman. I loved Shazam. I loved Wonder Woman, both Wonder Woman movies. Like and like
Aquaman
even with like
rules.
Man of
Shazam
Steel,
is hilarious. It's fine.
I know.
I fucking love Man of Steel,
And
by
so
the
like
way.
like
I
for
actually
me,
think it's the best.
I didn't
think it's
love
the
Man of
best
Steel, but I
Superman
didn't
movie.
hate it either.
Easily.
And like I had my issues with Batman vs Superman, but like I found I didn't disagree with the people who didn't like it. Like I will take this to the grave, but I think Jesse Eisenberg is doing something interesting. I think that
Oh, yeah.
it's a big swing, and you're gonna miss with a swing like that.
It's a big
but I
swing.
am here for what he was trying to do, and so I found myself not aligning with the people who even didn't like the movies in different ways.
Mm-hmm.
But like when I got to Justice League, I was just like, I want to like this. I really want to like this, and I didn't. And since then, of course, we've gotten Birds of Prey and Shazam and all of these other great DC movies that,
Birds of Prey whips ass. I love Birds of Prey.
Birds of Prey is the first superhero movie that was made specifically for me, and that ruled. Just like thank you for that.
I think I
you know.
described it as like bathing
Absolutely.
my eyes in strawberry quick. It was like just that's how it
Oh,
felt to me. It felt wonderful.
Stop! Don't reveal my
Yeah.
morning routines to the listeners. They shouldn't know.
I love it. I love it to
just
death.
like it's colorful. It's gonzo. It's like so animated and lively and silly. Like
Yeah.
I watch a ton of anime, so like if
Oh,
you're
then
gonna,
this is, like,
yeah,
right up
if
your
you're
alley.
if you're gonna go like weird and like wacky and be sad about a sandwich, like I am very much here for this. I want more
oh my god, yes,
actors
please.
to cry about
But
breakfast
the-
foods. Thank you.
yeah.
I need this.
I
Get
think it's a
Watanabe on
gorgeous
it.
film.
I want to see him cry about a breakfast food.
I fucking loved Birds
Yeah.
of Prey to death, and honestly, I found its underperformance quite sad. The fact that it didn't really find the audience.
Yeah, for
my
sure.
guess is that it finds the audience that it deserves on home video. And I've just
Yeah.
watched the 4K version of it because I'm a giant nerd, and I was like, I would like to. I haven't seen any movies on 4K, so I earned a little money acting in commercials, and I
Nice.
blew some of it on a new TV and a 4K Blu-ray player.
Ooh.
And the colors in Birds of Prey
That's
on
amazing.
4K are fucking mind-boggling. Like it was gorgeous in theaters. Watching it like mastered from a 4K digital intermediate,
yeah.
it was, and
I
like
bet-
having
I bet
having
you
high
wanna
dynamic
lick
I mean, that
range.
it.
movie also has
Yeah,
one of the
I
best
wanna
comic book
I wanna lick that
soundtracks
movie.
of all time, too. Like, the,
And, like,
the
it's
soundtrack
such a joy.
actually, it just whips from start to finish.
Yeah, dope.
Yeah, it
Dope
just
as hell.
Absolutely
That
does.
that soundtrack
but-
rips. Oh my
Yep.
gosh.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But I genuinely, I'm so keen to get your take on this new Justice League, because it fucking took me to school, man.
Sure.
Sorry, go on, and then I'm gonna get to this aspect ratio.
So
business,
I guess
because
the
this needs
thing
to
I
be
was
discussed.
getting roundabout
Sure, yeah.
was with Joss Whedon's version of Justice League, I felt it was less than. As someone who's disappointed by that, do you think I will enjoy this version? It sounds like yes. It sounds like yes. I will enjoy this version.
I think you'll at least respect that this is something that is angling.
Okay. Yeah.
It has a point of view. Whereas I felt that the sort of studio rejiggered Justice League did not really have a point of view other than
Right.
guys, it's like the Avengers now. Please enjoy this. We got the Avengers guy. It's got more quipping. Superman isn't so sad. Please like this.
Fun.
Yeah.
But I will tell you this: what happened to Ray Fisher? If I was Ray Fisher, and I shot the fucking material that ended up in the Snyder Cut of Cyborg, and I saw what became of that part, it would have broken my heart so bad. I don't know if I could have gotten out of bed for a year, because what Zack Snyder has for Ray Fisher to do in the full 4-hour cut, he's the heart of the film.
Yeah,
he's the emotional center of the entire film.
He's as close to a protagonist as you are going to get in this piece, and
yes,
a lot of it is very unmooring because there is not a protagonist. It kind of reminded me a lot of, and this is I promise it's not a knock. It reminds me a lot of George Lucas's prequel Star Wars trilogy, where you're just kind of going through a space and living in a world for a while, and it's not necessarily happening in the way that you expect. It's not feeding it to you. And I'm so driven by really powerful storytelling that I lose a vibe if you're just gonna do the vibe, especially if you're gonna do a vibe with characters that I threw around as a child. There's something interesting that's going on with Zack Snyder, and I disagree with him a lot on what he's doing politically in his films. A lot of the messages that I interpolate, I find deeply troubling.
Sure.
And I don't think that he necessarily believes some of the choices in the imagery that he is making. And so I'm always willing to give him the benefit of the doubt on that. I just wish Zach could write women with agency, just once, just not having them pulled along by the plot. And obviously I'm speaking a lot from my identity from here.
Sure.
But if he could just give me a very strong woman that drives a plot, I bet it would be so interesting instead of plot happening too. And it's not just plot happening too. To call it back, Superman in this is very much a plot device more than anything else.
You're not going to see him in this film for almost 3 hours.
Yeah, he shows up and I guess it's fine. Maybe it's fine.
I would say that Wonder Woman gets a much better deal in this cut of the film.
I didn't watch the theatrical cut.
The theatrical cut, she's basically there to be boys about the Justice League.
Oh, Barry, get out of my boobs, Barry.
Yeah, honestly, it's kind of embarrassing.
I don't know. Maybe a lot of these men film directors should maybe go back to school and learn how to write women.
I will say this: I'm a diehard anti-Randian. I know that Zack Snyder loves the work of Ayn
my God,
Rand.
he wants to do the Fountainhead, and if he does the Fountainhead, I'm quitting media criticism.
Oh, I will see it opening night, even though I hate
see
Ayn
myself
Rand.
out. Thank you.
I can't stand Ayn Rand, but it's amazing that his biggest sort of literary obsession seems to be the woman who wrote Dagny in Atlas Shrugged, who's a hard-charging female character.
Yeah.
But I do want to hear your thoughts on that.
I absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just there's there's a lot of choices that could have been made differently to to give to Amy Adams and Diane Lane and even the Amazons the same sort of loving care that Ray Fisher was given. You know, this sort of like redemptive situation. It could have been very small, and I won't go into spoilers, but like if you love and understand Lois Lane as a character in the way that I love and I understand her, like we could have had what Zach wanted with her.
Yeah, totally.
Through a more Lois Lane lens.
I dig it.
Yeah.
I mean,
she was my biggest umbrage. Like her scenes were a slog.
Well, she's basically she's grieving. That's her story in the film, is someone who's grieving. Mm-hmm. And I didn't find her scenes a slog. I found them very empathetic. Yeah. But I also recognize that she's granted a little bit less range.
Yeah, you have Amy Adams, who is just like a light, you know, and I think that we can do mourning, and we can also still live our lives, you know.
I found something much more humane in Snyder's treatment of her than in the slightly sitcom-y treatment she and Diane Lane got in the theatrical. And it's possible that a lot of my opinion about this is informed by just how shockingly different it is from the theatrical. I know you didn't watch it.
Yeah, but I know enough about it. It just comes to a point where it's like, I think I know like what the key elements are. I don't have time to give to, you know, some DC movies that just like, I already know I'm not going to have a good time. And if I'm going to sit and watch Superman shoot lasers out of his eyes, I hope it's fun. I hope we're having fun at least. And I did have fun moments, you know. I think the Amazon scene, while incredibly graphic, Zach, why kill all these women? What you doing, buddy? I think it was very, very Snyder. It was that sort of like 300 gratuitousness that like I can get into. I know exactly what his plan is. I just think sometimes maybe he needs a little bit more like feminism in his life. That's all.
I will
Get
say
some feminism and read some Marx, bud.
Oh,
come
100%.
on over here. It's good.
I would say, I think, you know, mentioning the Amazon scene, it reminds me that, yeah, I mean, whatever his deficits as a chronicler of the woman's experience, I will say that one thing he has over 99.999% of directors who tackle material like this is an innate understanding of how to stage and film action so that you actually know what's happening during the action scenes.
The geography of his scene work is...
It's not coverage, because a lot of films you get coverage. You've shot from several different angles, you smash it together, and what you get from Zack Snyder is a fully designed line of movement. In the sense that I love from like musicals, from a great musical. You know, and so that's one thing I truly do love about what Snyder does, is that when I watch his stuff, I never doubt where my eye is supposed to go.
And like we were talking about that with Godzilla, right? Like you want to be able to follow the action in a movie
cool.
like this and like Godzilla, and a filmmaker who knows how to do that will keep you invested.
Yeah.
Before we wrap up on So I was gonna say before we wrap up,
but let us speak
Abe,
for a
tell us
moment
about 4-3 and why you enjoy and what your defense of it.
Well, I'm a big fan. I'm a big fan of Academy ratio. You know, I like when you've got a lot of height in an image. Mm-hmm. I don't know if you saw Pavel Pawlikowski's Cold War. That's a great example of how to use that. I never found myself, when I was watching the Snyder Cut, thinking that the image seemed squeezed. I found that there was a lot of height in the image. And it was... Someone on Twitter... asked, like, is it just cheaper to chop the sides off on a special effects level? And I was like, no, because you're rendering above and below. Like, it's the same amount of screen. I never found myself, like, wishing that those black bars would move. I actually got absorbed into it very, very quickly and acclimated very quickly. And it's possible it's because I watch a lot of old movies, a lot of which are filmed in that boxy Academy ratio, which is a little bit wider than 4:3. But there was something about the 4:3 where it actually makes you so innately conscious of the visuals where
Right.
you're like, this is so much more obviously a construction than the thing I'm used to seeing. And it's like, okay, what are you making? And what he's doing is he's like painting with like chiaroscuro lights, and like making these giant like awestruck murals of the way these beings move, which is completely, I mean, like, he uses the height of the frame beautifully. I never felt people were squeezed in. That's just me. But
I really felt that like there
found it
could
very
have been more
painterly.
power in a lot of honestly, it happened a lot in establishing shots for me and blocking. I think that there was just I also have like watched a lot of old movies in old aspect ratios and like it feels.
Oh, no, I wasn't trying to say that somehow you're like uneducated about
No.
cinema.
But like I totally understand but sometimes I feel like maybe with our modern sensibilities we're still working on like fitting things into the frame. I just could not believe how much that like sweeping shot of all of them after the third act just felt so minimal. It felt so squished, and it felt like there was a better way to get that idea, maybe with different blocking or a different camera angle move.
Oh, I never felt that.
I felt so oppressed in certain moments, like going over mountains and stuff. Just like it felt so wrong, to have like this like immense thing feel so little. And I can imagine that like if this premiered in IMAX, that would probably look heckin' cool, because like that's the thing. And
as I say, I just got a new cool TV, and so it's like it looks to me. It never felt that way to me. It always felt. I guess
but
at a
in
certain
the
point,
same way that
I was just absorbed into what it was, and I was like, my brain just clicked and accepted it, and I never saw blocking that seemed to violate the frame. That was.
Oh yeah, there was one particular like Diane Lane walk. I'm pretty sure it was either Amy Adams or Diane Lane. Just like walking through the frame, I was like, oh, and you're gone. I don't think you were supposed to be gone yet. But okay, goodbye. I'll miss you. Have fun backstage. Yeah, it's just. I think some of the intent with this aspect ratio fell flat for some of the scenes that I was just like, oh, that doesn't feel like it works. Like,
I found it so painterly, and I found that the immense and immediate sort of consciousness of this being an image ended up with me like just searching every frame for like contours and lines, and I found myself getting just more drawn into it. And that's me.
Yeah.
But again, this is personal preference.
Oh yeah, no, like how you.
And I do think it sort of does. It invites a little bit of ridicule for them to say, to preserve the artistic integrity of Zack Snyder's vision right at the top. I feel like you could have just said, this film was presented in the 4:3 aspect ratio. That is why there are blocks on either side of your screen.
Yeah.
There is nothing wrong with the image that you're like. This is how it was intended to be seen. I think once you put the words integrity and artistic vision in there, but the whole film is inviting ridicule in the way that it's like a supersized everything funereal Zack Snyder sandwich. It is a quintuple decker Zack Snyder sad version of a pop song.
Yeah, but even as sad as it is, even as sad as like the themes of orphans and like
the sheer amount of
there's
grieving.
Just so much. Like I will say, it was a really hopeful movie.
It is. I think it is very hopeful.
It is pretty darned optimistic. And
yes.
Even though like Superman doesn't do much in it, I think that Henry Cavill has finally hit like what I wanted to see in Henry Cavill Superman. And
Cavill's a great Superman.
Cavill's great. Like I love The Witcher so much. I think The Witcher really like locks in like what is great about Henry Cavill. And I really wish that we could have gotten more of this sense of like kind of boyish charm. And I think if there were more of that in the darkness of Snyder's Clark or Superman. I think it would make a lot of the darkness of what Zack had done a little more appeasable to me, you know? Because I think that Superman is just like the embodiment of hope, the answer to the question of if absolute power corrupts absolutely, what if it didn't? Like,
and what I get from his Superman, which is something I don't get from any other Superman, is the sense that we're actually looking at an alien. This is a guy whose value system is fundamentally at odds. No, it's not even that his value system is at odds. It's that his existence is at odds with our value system. He looks at us, and he could literally crush us like bugs. And I think one of the things that I love about what Snyder did with it is that it's like, damn, that's got to be really hard. The fact that, like, to actually be yourself in front of the world means, on some level, triggering war. Like, that's really fucking scary. And also, you're looking at things from the point of view of a god. He's basically a god. That's got to screw with you a little bit because he's a god with Midwestern adoptive parents.
yeah.
And who are, you know, fundamentally, like, I don't know, Presbyterian maybe or something, but like,
but also like that are fundamentally so messed up in Snyder's world that one will just gladly get eaten by a tornado just cuz, you know. And I think that's what, again, I politically disagree with a lot of Zack Snyder's choices, because I think that it is so interesting when you look at Superman as an alien who lives in both worlds and does so beautifully because he was given guidance and love, and I think that the Kents are the greatest heroes of Superman's entire story. Like, Superman can fly faster than a speeding bullet.
I get that.
He can kick the sun in the nuts and be like, I did it. But like, the Kents make Clark who he is, and that is so powerful and magical to me. That, like,
and they're only human,
and they're just people.
But that's one reason that I love. What Snyder did with it. It's because Pa Kent makes a judgment call where he's just like, I need to protect you from what's going to happen if you come out, you know. And there's something about that it's totally misguided, and the film doesn't agree with him.
Mm-hmm.
The film straight up paints Pa Kent as being basically incorrect, you know.
Yeah.
But there's something about the fact that he really is doing it from a sense of love, however misguided.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, that's very human. And that imbues Superman with, for me, a sense of, like, pathos that I get from no other version of it.
Yeah, and see, I love so much when Pa Kent's or Ma Kent's, depending on who lives, who doesn't live in Superman's story, because it changes depending. But I love so much that when we choose a Kent to go, that it is mundane. It is not a big event or a tornado. Like, I watched the first episode of Superman and Lois, and they do that cold open, and spoilers for the first, like, cold open of this, but like, Pa Kent has a heart attack, and it's so normal, and it's so it's so pedestrian the way to go. And I think that when we do it that way, it really builds into the limits of Superman. Superman can do anything he wants. And I think
it's one way of doing it.
Cannot say, yeah, for sure. But like,
I think it's one way of doing it. There's going to be a million different versions of this, both on the page and on the screen.
Oh, for sure. And I think
we're never going to be at a shortage of Superman.
No, Superman is Godzilla is the megaphone for the time.
Yes.
But yeah, I just wanted to, like, speak to how I perceive my Supersman.
Your Supersman. I want to be very, very. I just want to make sure that I haven't, like, talked over or talked down on any of your.
Oh, no. Like, this is. Literally, I do not enjoy debating, but I do enjoy talking to you about this, because you have such a different take that I haven't heard before, that I'm just like, can we do this all day?
I just want to make sure you don't feel disrespected.
No,
or
just
like
don't yell at me to watch the
funny.
Eurovision movie, and we're cool.
It's very funny. I don't care if you watch it.
I only don't want to watch it because I really love Eurovision. Like, I love the real Eurovision.
So does the movie.
I'm sure.
So does the movie.
When 2021 Eurovision is done and a winner is announced, I will watch the Eurovision movie as a way to celebrate.
It's not an imperative for me to like maintain my way of life that you watch the Eurovision movie. Like you can do it whenever you want or never.
Yeah.
And I'm fucking A-okay.
But yeah, no, it's really interesting to hear your thoughts on this because it's not one that's come into my sphere. It kind of lends an interesting light to what I have seen of Zack Snyder, again, who I deeply politically disagree with in most of what he's doing on the screen. But I didn't super disagree with him on this one, you know, like overall, like hero's gonna hero.
I also feel like this, even though it is sort of the middle section of what was planned and what will probably now never happen.
I don't know.
Who can say?
That Restore the Snyder Cut or the Snyderverse is...
It's getting these people.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, but like there's something about it that even though it is theoretically the middle chunk of a larger story, it feels so very much a solitary achievement. I feel like, honestly, if you love movies, you don't need to have watched any of the other DC movies to watch this and get a full experience because it's only secondarily concerned with plot.
Yeah.
It is so deeply concerned with vibe and imagery and, honestly, on a surprising level, character. And I was so absorbed by it.
Second valid. Also, you don't need to watch any of the other DC movies up to this because everybody pretty much gets an origin. Everybody's in a place.
Exactly.
You get them real quick.
That's just movies, right? People in places.
Place doing a thing.
People in places.
What's every movie about? It's a guy in a place.
Barry's looking for a job. What's
the story of Godzilla? He's like a huge guy in a place.
Huge.
Godzilla is
like a big
classic
lizard
story
guy.
of a huge guy in a place.
Just
and Justice League's about a bunch of guys in a bunch of places.
They're just all over the place. All these guys, they're everywhere. But yeah, no, I think they really establish each character enough that like even if you didn't watch all of the CW Flash or Doom Patrol or the myriad of other things that would let you in on you know, these ancient characters older than all of us that will outlive all of us. You'll be fine. You won't be lost.
Who has nothing to add to this conversation is endlessly fascinated by it. And I was never not going to watch the Snyder Cut, but like this is the kind of conversation I want around this movie and these kinds of movies, right? This kind of, I mean, I know you encounter it constantly, Abe, on Twitter and stuff. Like people sometimes just want to fight to say that you're wrong and not actually talk about the thing. And what I like about this conversation is that you both don't agree, but you both still had a conversation about it. And that's kind of what I mean, that's what we strive for with this show, but like it makes me more interested in this movie now because this is infinitely more an interesting conversation about Justice League than the other Justice League that came before it.
Well, yeah, I'm not talking to like Fistifer359 coming at me with an anime avatar, just being like, "Fuck you, homo!
How dare you? This is trash." You know,
exactly,
and you're garbage.
Gay. You know, that's the discourse.
Yeah.
That's the hashtag discourse.
The discourse TM is
not for me.
No, thank you. I will. I want to talk about themes and let's do that.
Are you good, Rachel? You done? You all right?
No, I'm never good, but I'm fine.
I'm all right if you're okay.
There you go.
I'm okay if you're okay.
We don't have any fun here. This is a terrible show. Now that we've
sucks.
It sucks.
It's a fine podcast.
It's fine. It's just
show
fine.
Sucks. Boo.
If now Rachel, then Abe, if you had to wrap up Zack Snyder's Justice League without the words Zack Snyder or Justice or League, how would you sum up this movie in just 3 words?
I'm
Rachel,
ready.
Do it.
mother boxes. They smell.
And Abe?
Big ass movie.
Big ass movie. Literally big ass movie. It's very big.
It is the most movie.
It's the
There's
most movie.
just a lot of movie in that movie.
And
there's at
and
least
for me,
5
that's
movies
a beautiful thing.
in that movie.
There's several movies in that movie.
Yeah.
And it's a big ass movie, and I'm all for it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a maximalist. No, I believe Roger Ebert said, no good movie is too long, and no bad movie is short enough.
Is that an actual quote? Because if it is, it's magical. And if it's not, it
Yes.
still is. I love it. I've never heard that quote before. I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
If I'm vibing with your movie, fuck it. Make it 5 hours long, Vim Vendors. I don't give a shit.
Never end it.
Never end it. Forever.
Do it.
Yeah, give me 4 hours of Hausu, please. Thank you.
Actually, that I would like.
I would lose my mind if we got more Hausu. Like,
Hausu rocks.
oh Lord. I'm gonna go.
I want an extended mega mix of the piano scene.
Oh my gosh, yes. Please play it in forward, play it in reverse, play it in forward again.
Yep.
Animate it. It's fine. Do all of those.
Do all of those things. Do it.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my God. This was amazing.
Nice House, such a good movie. Ugh.
I have to see it. I've heard
about
so many
forever.
people talk about House, and like I've still yet to watch it. It's been on my list for a long time, and I really just need to.
It's quite necessary.
Yeah.
It's
I have to pull the trigger on that.
so important.
It is quite necessary.
Yeah, and like obviously, like we're not going to talk more about it because it's best to go in like knowing as little as possible, and then just go down the rabbit hole of like interpolating the meaning and just like understanding it on a deep. Oh, it's the best.
Also, just moment to moment cinematographic stuff is like next level strange. It just never takes the direct route to expressing whatever it is that is the point of the scene.
No, that's the
I
kind of
respect that.
vibe movie that I can get into.
I am way
love
more
it.
about story than plot. Plot
Yeah.
doesn't matter to me very much. It's one reason that so much modern film discourse is meaningless to me is because they're just like, plot hole, doesn't make sense, sucks. And it's
Yeah.
like, dude, I could give a shit. I'm talking about story.
Yeah.
Yeah, the
Story
story.
is about how things happen,
Yeah.
and it's like why I don't care what you're showing me as long as you show me in a compelling and interesting way.
Yes.
You know,
Absolutely.
like plot means nothing. I don't care if your third act doesn't add up. Like put me in that world,
Yeah.
or alienate me to the point where I'm seeing something that otherwise I wouldn't see.
Absolutely.
Just do something, mean something. And that's what Snyder did with Justice League, honestly, for me, is he pushed to the limit the entire idea of what we can acceptably call a superhero movie. And it's like, holy shit. I'm so captivated by that.
Yeah, his characters don't break their fundamental rules, which is big for me because I'm very like character driven, which is why I carry such a deep torch for like the character of Superman and like what it represents to me.
Sure.
And so like if you're gonna break the rules with a character, like you can, but like just be aware that like you gotta break them for a reason. And
I think on some level I truly don't care about whether an adaptation is faithful. Like it literally
same.
it means absolutely nothing to me. Because
Yeah.
I'm just like, are you going to present me with something compelling or not?
Yeah.
You know?
I actually have a movie that absolutely represents that, and we've talked about it a lot on this podcast, and it's Venom. Venom.
oh, I thought you were gonna
As a
say Speed
movie-
Racer because
That
Speed
too,
Racer
but that too,
whips ass.
absolutely.
Speed
love
Racer
Speed
is
Racer.
genius.
But
So
yeah,
genius.
I
But,
enjoyed
like,
Venom a lot.
and like I'm a Venom fan. Like I'm a '90s kid, so I like Wolverine and Venom. It's kind of a rule. Like that happens.
Nerd.
When you grow up. Nerd. But like, and I wanted to love Venom.
dweeby.
And I wanted to go into Venom loving it. And what you're saying, Abe, is absolutely true. Like, because I hated Wolverine Origins for the same reason that it wasn't faithful, but it was also unentertaining. Wolverine Origins was boring and a mess, whereas Venom was a fever dream, but I was in it 100%
Yeah.
the whole time. The lobster tank
I had a blast with
theme, Like, you had fun. And, like, that's ultimately what I want. If I'm not going to enjoy how you adapt it, then entertain me. Give me something to watch. Give me something to enjoy. And I completely agree with your analysis of character and wanting a whole story. I'm the last person who's going to go, that didn't make sense in my movie with someone who can breathe underwater and talk to a kraken. Like, who gives a shit if it makes sense? If you have
but Aquaman
Patrick
is
Wilson,
blonde and he wears
Not my
orange
Luke
and green.
Skywalker.
Yeah, no.
Fuck you.
I'm talking about like the core diametric meaning of a character.
Sure.
You know, like you can do whatever you want with that character. It's just like there's something to the unified theory of a character that I think if you're gonna put them outside of that, like to me, Superman Clark Kent is self-actualized. Like he can be struggling, he can be sad, and he can murder, but he's also like so.
Well, we can all murder.
We can all
Rachel.
murder. It's true, but it's just
true. We're capable.
It's the vibe. It's the vibe. You know, the vibe is the
vibe.
is the core, is the soul, and like do what you want, but like if you change the soul of it, it feels to me like you break the rules. And that's why I really like this Clark Kent, because I was like, there he is. I found him.
Also, it's a little bit nuts for Clark Kent to return to the Daily Planet after his own fucking funeral. But you know what? I don't give a shit.
Just do it. Yeah, go there. Live there. Yeah, I mean, they
should
literally,
never have.
They fired
They have
him
to be
in
feeling
Superman
so
and Lois.
stupid. They have to be feeling so stupid about like having the Clark Kent funeral because they're like, shit, god damn it.
Wait, you died, and Superman died.
They should have had at
And
the end a
then-
scene where he puts on a different pair of glasses and is like, I'm Mark Kent,
I'm Mark
Clark's
Kent.
brother.
What's up? It'd be great. I love it.
I'm Super Duper Man, a totally different superhero.
Listen, I don't want to get too spoilery.
I
about
change
the
my
Snyder
clothes
Cut,
in
but I'm
bowling
just gonna-
alleys and not phone booths.
Not to get too spoilery though, I do want someone to modify that pallbearer gif. You know, where the pallbearers are like dancing and carrying the coffin, and just superimpose the Justice League's faces on them, because that's where my mind went in like that bit of just like, we gotta get Clark, we gotta get him, we gotta. I had a blast during the grave robbing sequence. Pretty fun.
Yeah. The grave robbing sequence rocked ass.
I cannot believe you haven't.
Also, I find it hard to
steal a corpse.
I find it hard to believe that anybody looked at the Flash and Cyborg's function in the theatrical cut of Justice League and thought it was superior to what Snyder dreamed up for them to do in his version of it. Because what they do together is honestly one of the coolest things I've ever seen in a superhero picture.
That's awesome.
To me, it's just one of the best of its kind ever made. I fucking love it. It is so out there, and it is so excessive, and so it's gluttonous.
Yeah, it's.
Yeah.
And I would have watched another 4 hours because I was like, fuck it, go down to super duper duper slow mo. I don't give a shit. Immerse me in this line of movement. Show a cigarette falling to the ground and getting stepped on at 7,500 frames a second. I don't give a shit. Take me there. Set your camera down and film an aquarium for 20 minutes. At 38 million frames a second. I don't give a shit. Do it. Do it. And I'm going to respect you for it.
That bubble is taking forever to get to the surface.
That's right. That's right. Give me the full
It's
Kuyana
a
Scotzi
lot.
superhero experience.
Oh my.
this
Kuyana
whole bit,
Scotzi.
all I'm thinking about is trying to figure out how the hell to transition to the interview portion of the show.
Then do
and
it in
I just
reverse.
can't
Oh
get there.
shit, there's like a
I
whole
just
other
can't
part
get
of
there.
this. Okay.
Oh,
now we're
right.
doing the interview.
Supposedly.
Oops. Our bad.
Now we're doing the
It's
interview.
totally
There's your
fine.
segue.
Yeah.
Do you guys want to do
Hey.
an interview?
Thanks.
This podcast is going to be 4 hours long. It's a
is gonna be
vibe.
Zack
Snyder
cut.
cut.
This
Of-
is the
of Screen
Snyder
Snyder.
cast
Yeah.
right here. Just like
Snyder
full-
cast.
We're doing 5.5 hours. Thank you.
All right. Okay, let's fucking do it. Let's hit it.
Yeah.
Hit me.
So Abe,
Abe, yes.
what's your deal, man? Like, what's up?
My deal?
I don't
Good
leave the interview
good
questions. What's your whole like deal?
What are you all about?
That's not. No. That's a. I would
Like, what's
never.
your thing?
I did.
No.
Like, what's.
What do you
like,
do? What do you do?
What's
are
your
you?
season?
Holy
What's your
shit.
sign? Are you
This is
are
going
you
to
more
be
of an autumn
unlistenable.
or?
I want to be very clear.
Completely. That's fine.
I
Rachel,
will
edited it.
have
It'll be
broken
fine.
your fucking podcast.
No. Matt Young broke our podcast, so you're
yeah,
fine.
that's true. You're doing great. You're doing great.
Okay.
but
So let's
I
talk.
break
Let's
our
have an interview.
podcast.
I've got a great idea. Let's do an
no,
interview.
but actually, no, but seriously though, actually, the whole conversation leading up to this is why I wanted to have you on the show, Abe. Because while having you on Autographs was a delight, and talking to you and breaking down your experience on stage and all that stuff was really great. What I know you for as a friend is your discourse with movies and how passionate you are about movies and how much you love film and acting and cinematography and like everything about movies. Like, I've talked to a lot of actors and creators who like movies and like the things they do, but I feel like you get it on a molecular level that no one else does that I know. And I'm curious if that's always been the case. Did you grow up looking at movies and film and theater and TV like this, or is it something that as you pursued acting became more self-aware of?
Those are very kind words. Thank you for saying them. Well, my dad got me into movies when I was a kid. When I was very young, he showed me Dr. Strangelove and Blade Runner and How Green Was My Valley, Chariots of Fire. These were all of his favorite films. I'm All Right, Jack. He's just my dad was a frustrated actor. He told me that he was terrible at it, and I have no evidence to go on. But he quit acting, and he ran the Association for the Help of Retarded Children until he died. And he basically instilled in me an appreciation of long-form storytelling, not just on film, but on the page. He was a huge Tolkien fanatic. He would read to me from The Hobbit and Lord of the Rings. And I think, and this is not to discount my mother's influence. My mother is a brilliant writer, my dad was Michael Goldfarb. My mom is Priscilla Goldfarb. She's still with us, and is a phenomenal writer of both prose and poetry. But both of them were very, very interested in storytelling. And, I also think being raised Jewish, which was really a flip of the coin on some level. My dad was Jewish. My mom was raised Episcopalian. But they were always going to raise us in a faith. And I do think that Judaism has a unique quality of not just narrative, but inquiry.
Yeah.
I think that a lot of spiritualities have an orthodoxy rooted in this is the story, this is the moral. Whereas what I got in all my years at Hebrew school, which I'm not a religious person, but I deeply connect with a lot of parts of my Jewish heritage. What I got in Hebrew school was a relentless sense of moral inquiry, because we're constantly telling stories. There are so many of them, in the Torah, and the Talmud is such a wide-ranging text, and it's really just you'd never stop asking. And I think maybe that made me I have a terrible attention span, but when it comes to films and books, I'm just there. I will be locked in, completely paying attention. I don't care how long it is. And I think a part of it is because for me, the act of taking in art is an active thing. To me, it's not sitting back and consuming a product, having my eyes buffeted.
Right.
It's like I'm leaning in, and I'm always trying to find a point of connection or a point of intellectual engagement or emotional engagement. And, I'm not saying that makes me a special somebody who watches movies better. I'm just saying that, to me, watching a movie is a contact sport.
Yeah,
you know?
you're keyed on the empathy machine that is movies.
Another Roger Ebert quote: "Movies are a machine that generates empathy." But even then, moving outside of that, there's a lot of cinema that is not about empathy. There's a lot of cinema that is purely about alienation, about imagery, about things that are postmodern, which are basically like, this is what you are watching while you are watching it, And I think I just grew up really loving interrogating my stories. And so, I was into cinema from a very early age. I got very troubled by stories very easily. Dr. Strangelove, after the end of that, it's such a very funny ending when you're a grown-up.
Yeah.
Because, it's this lovely song playing over a procession of mushroom clouds. When you're a child, the dissonance of that is so haunting and upsetting, especially because I did grow up at the sort of tail end of the Cold War, when there, in the 80s, there was still a fear that, you were going to get nuked. Stuff like that stayed with me. Stuff like Blade Runner, Roy Batty deactivating in the rain. These were things that I would sit up and cry about, and I would ask myself, why do I feel this way? Why is this making me lose sleep? What does it mean? Like, what's the combination of image and idea and character? And so, I just wound up becoming a machine where I was like, I want to watch as many movies as I can, and I want to understand them as well as I can, and what I can't understand, I want to leave to mystery and excitement about that. I've only made one film, but it's definitely something that I want to keep doing once it's possible to make a movie again, when in a way that doesn't require $100 million. Because if you've got $100 million, you've got pretty rigorous.
You can kind of do whatever you want. Like
you've got safety on your. I'm talking about purely on a COVID level. You've got the means.
Yeah, you're Ben Affleck in the Justice League. What's your superpower?
Sure.
I'm rich.
Yeah, I'm rich. But yeah, I want to tell stories like that. I want to connect with people like that. I want to meet people there. Like one of the happiest moments of my life. Everyone else was so agonized when we screened The Horror at Gallery K, the film I directed. And I was just at the back of the house soaking in the audience experience and watching people react and realizing that I had made something that did, at certain points, and pretty consistently, get a reaction. That they were laughing at the funny parts, screaming at the spooky parts. To me, that's just thrilling. I love that. It's one of the reasons I miss movie going with big audiences, is because I actually get swept away by the communal feeling.
Absolutely.
And I can enjoy going to a film alone. I love it, actually. But sometimes you really want that experience of going to, like, the Bombay cinemas out in Flushing with, like, a full Hindi-speaking audience watching, a 3-hour pirate movie.
Yeah. Totally.
Yeah, it's
Thugs of Hindustan, if you're wondering what film that is.
If I may, the theater going experience is akin to what plays and musicals are trying to do. We're building a moment in a space with the people that are here, and this moment, when it ends, will never return. You will never get the same audience in the screening as you did on that day. It will never be midnight on opening night. It will never be the $5 like re-feature of Gremlins that you got to see when you were like 12. You get that one moment, and I think when you rewatch, you can rewatch with a different idea and a different opinion, but it's still trying to like reach and recapture that, and you never will, and that's so exciting. Just like
I love it
you
so
think
much.
You think a lot about like where you were, what you were doing, who you're with. Like I will never forget that I was like in the 8th grade, sitting in the back of a movie theater to watch this like weird fantasy movie that I knew nothing about, and it was Fellowship of the Ring, and it changed my entire life. And like I was sitting next to like my theater teacher and like all my theater friends, and they were all like, "This is good." It's really it's wild, and I'm just like, okay, it looks long. And then at the end I was like, we have to wait for more.
Yeah.
These are books. And then I read the entire trilogy, just like I needed to absorb it. I needed to like live in this world, live in this space. It was like akin to a religious experience, you know?
Sure.
And that's what cinema can do.
I think cinema is the supreme art form because it is a bastard child of several different ones. It incorporates so many things. That's one reason a lot of people think it's a cheap art form. I think it is my favorite art form. Though an interesting distinction when it comes to theater and film, the magical thing about theater is you can see the same production with the same cast, and it's never going to be the same thing. Like, it just vanishes. Once you've seen that thing, it's gone. That moment is gone that you just experienced. And with cinema, you've got a control group.
Yeah.
The work doesn't change.
Yeah.
You change.
Absolutely.
And that's interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I would say, first of all, I'm so glad that you brought up the Horror Gallery K. Everyone, go watch it. It's on Amazon Prime. It's phenomenal. Please go watch this film. I've watched it several times. Please go watch it. I'd be remiss if I didn't mention it. But like,
Thank you
Abe,
very
when
much.
you're talking about the movie going experience, I remember I didn't really understand how important the audience was until I saw Ghostbusters in the theater. I'm young enough that I didn't see it the first time around in theaters. I saw it as a kid at home on VHS. And then they were doing a screening.
I'm 41 years old and I saw it in the theater.
But like, then I went, it must have been in
the picture house.
but then I must have,
They tore my ticket and everything.
We went to the talkies.
That's right. Of course, in those days, you'd pay a nickel and jerk off in the stalls. Go on.
This was the American dream.
But like,
right.
As a teenager,
Back in the Depression in 1984.
We gotta take this act down the road.
the two of you really do. But no,
Please
but like
continue.
the thing, like I watched it on VHS all the time with my dad, and we laughed at certain jokes and we laughed at certain moments. And then I went and saw it in the theaters when I was in, like, I think it was in high school they were showing it. And it just broke my brain how different the experiences were. First of all, there were laughs in places that I never laughed before, but it made me look at the movie different and go, oh, that is funny. That is a funny moment. And then also just the energy of watching this movie that I love, that with actors that I love, with nonsense that I love, it feels different. And it blew my mind after that. And like it's what set me on a path to want to see so many things in theaters, because like, it's funny, we joked about Venom before, but like I saw Venom on my birthday because it was one of my favorite characters. And the movie, for all intents and purposes, was a train wreck, a brilliant train wreck, but a train wreck. But I had so much fun because I was surrounded.
Sometimes it's fun to watch trains wreck into each other.
I watched it in a theater full of my friends at the Alamo Draft House. We had like 20 people there, and like the energy, the manic energy of my friends and this movie changed the experience. If I had watched Venom at home by myself, I might have been entertained also, but it would have not been the same on any level as it was seeing it in the theater. And I just love that. And I feel like that's what I miss. I miss a lot of things about the pandemic, and I miss concerts and live performance, but I have places to get that. Like I Twitch stream and I DJ on Twitch sometimes. So that gives me a little bit of that, but like the movie going experience, the only time I've been able to come close to replicating it is like when Sarah and I sat down and watched Raya the Last Dragon together, and we gasped together, and we felt those moments together. It sort of replicates it, but it's still not quite the same. And I miss that energy so much of watching movies.
Totally.
You know,
As do I.
I've been trying really hard, and I did this with Snyder's Justice League. I've been trying to sort of like replicate that like experience of being in the theater. It was very hard to do with Justice League because it is 4 hours, and sometimes you have to pee, and that can't be helped. What are you gonna do? But trying to like put my phone away.
Sit right there and let it go.
Why didn't you wear a diaper?
Soak that couch.
Get it. You know, and like
That's why I always put down a puppy pad when I watch an epic length film. I'm not getting up.
Excuse me.
I have my catheter.
Excuse me, sir. This is a Regal. You cannot bring that puppy pad in here.
Well, then it's gonna be a
Oh
catheter.
boy. But trying to like bring about that similar experience. Like I put my phone away. We're just like we are in this movie and we are going to go all the way through. And it helps a lot. It's giving these movies the fairest shake that you can in the space. But there's something to be said about a room full of people erupting in cries and cheers when All Might and Deku are just like fighting the bad guy at the end of the My Hero movie. You're just like uplifted, and like why wouldn't you want to give every movie that same A+ chance?
1,000%.
Absolutely.
Though I do love being at home and watching movies.
Yeah, the whole not having to.
People
I
are
miss
gross.
people, but I also don't miss people. I know. No, I desperately do.
Really
I want to
miss
kiss
people.
so many people when this is done. Ugh, I'm gonna cry. It's gonna be great.
On my way to the
Yeah,
mouth
can't
spitting
wait.
party.
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Oh, there's a really great musical.
Abe Spitbottom
Oh,
Goldfarb.
there's a really wonderful musical artist who loops stuff, and he's just nasty as shit. It's great. Editor Rachel popping in real quick to say that artist is Mark Ribillet. Mark with a C, Rebillet. Please check them out. Back to the show. And he did one about
Love
vaccines, and he's like, the Moderna, the Pfizer, I got the vaccine in my life, and he's like, I'm gonna spit in your ass. And it's just like, yep, that's gonna be the vibe, isn't it? We're gonna get
That's an old
I'm gonna
Yiddish
spit in your
proverb.
ass.
Here's spit in your ass.
spit in your ass.
An old toast.
It's an
So
old
the
toast.
spit in your ass.
Long life. I'm gonna spit in your ass.
Hey, here's spit in your ass, kid.
Lord.
The original cut line from Casablanca.
Hey.
Here's spit in your ass, kid. Have you seen Beat the Devil?
I'm not.
No.
John Huston's Beat the Devil. It was written basically day by day by a drunk Truman Capote.
Okay.
Stars
Okay.
Humphrey Bogart and Peter Lorre, and it is a nonsensical crime story.
I love it.
The plot is utterly irrelevant, and the film stops caring about it at a certain point. There was a moment 10 minutes in where I was like, I'm being asked to digest a lot of information, and then realizing a few minutes later none of it mattered. If you get the chance to see Beat the Devil, it's been remastered, and it's really worth seeking out the sort of remastered director's cut of it. I love Beat the Devil. Love it so goddamn much. Sorry, the Casablanca spit in your ass thing made me think of Bogart.
Look,
I just wanted to make
sometimes
sure that everybody.
sometimes we get there.
Absurdist,
I wanted to
isn't
make sure
it?
that everybody saw Beat
obviously.
the Devil.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have to ask, Abe.
Yeah.
As the representative of animation, of this podcast, I rep animation real hard. I have to know, and I never ask this.
Okay. Am I clothed
No.
when I'm doing the work?
Are you
you-
are you Winnie the Pooh in it right now? No. My question is, what is your take or opinion or thought process, or do you watch Miyazaki films? Because
Oh, I like Miyazaki very much.
okay, cool. Because like we're talking about vibes and like
Yeah.
non-linear, like
Miyazaki's big into vibe.
yeah. So
Loves vibe.
I just wanted to
my
check.
My favorite Miyazaki is not a popular choice. It's Nausicaa, Valley of the Wind.
Nausicaa's
It's a great
great.
movie.
It's a great film, but it's never at the top of
No.
anyone's list.
Yeah.
And for me, that's like an astonishing achievement.
Yeah.
Huge fan of that.
Mine is Kiki's Delivery Service because I get that movie.
That's a great film. I'm
That
also a big
movie-
Hideaki Anno fan
Yeah.
as well. I really enjoy the Evangelion rebuilds.
I need to watch Evangelion.
Yeah.
I'm a fan, and I
ready.
think the rebuilds are
I
phenomenal.
haven't.
And I'm really curious to see. What happens with the final film in the rebuild, which has been in the offing for something like 7 years.
Yeah. Yeah, I haven't watched the rebuilds,
I hope
but
we're
I've been
still. I
wanting
hope
to.
we're still around.
Yeah, right. In 7 years.
Fingies crossed.
Pinkies crossed for the planet.
Yeah, it's funny with Miyazaki.
Give me my vaccine.
I'm
Yeah.
the basic
Because like that's all vibe.
Miyazaki.
I'm the least essential worker. Give me a vaccine. I'm
Yeah.
not essential at all.
You're essential to me, Abe.
I'm essential from my house.
Well, thank
I'm
you
doing
so
great
much.
here. Thank you.
I'm so glad.
I'm essential to my cat.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Cat can't eat without you. That's for sure. I was gonna say before.
Yeah, it's true. That's because I keep the food away.
I'm the basic.
He'll eat my face. It's fine. I'm not worried.
I'm the basic bitch of.
Without me, he'll just eat me. It's cool.
I'll get the sentence out eventually, Rachel.
Will you?
I don't know.
That's
it's
really the
a
question.
gamble at this point.
Wait. 1, 2, 3, say the thing.
I am the basic bitch of Miyazaki film lovers, and I love Princess Mononoke. Princess Mononoke is my favorite. It's everyone's favorite, but I love that movie.
It rules.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
totally rules.
It's so
It's everyone's
good.
favorite because it's great.
It's so like it was the first time I ever got to see animated arms come off, and I was there for it.
Excellent.
I was just like, this is fucking brutal.
I've been
And
enjoying
beautiful.
digging into. I've been enjoying digging into like 1970s science fiction stuff, like Space Adventure Cobra and like Arcadia of my youth, which was I think the first big standalone Captain Harlock film.
Yeah.
Really loved Arcadia of my youth.
Yeah, and I don't think that I think.
Oh, and a great one called Crusher Joe. If you've never seen
I
Crusher
haven't.
Joe, that movie fucking
It
rocks.
sounds awesome.
There's a couple of original video animations of Crusher Joe, but
Yeah.
there is one theatrical film, and you watch it and you're like, oh, this is where Guardians of the Galaxy came
nice.
from, in terms of like how we now understand it. It's very much I don't know when Guardians of the Galaxy premiered as a comic.
Oh, I don't know.
I'm not sure when that is. But if you're talking about like the vibe, Crusher Joe is very much a decades ago iteration of that vibe, and
Love
it's absolutely gorgeous, and it does one of my favorite things, which is like almost all of the frame in several parts is animated. Sometimes there's like almost no painted backdrop. It's just things moving fully hand
Oh, I love
drawn,
that.
and it's just so
That's
kick-ass.
amazing.
There's a chase scene where like the highway is hand drawn.
That's awesome.
Oh, it's
I'll have to
fucking
check that
beautiful.
out.
That rules.
Yeah.
Excellent. This
Yep.
this was an enlightening, exuberant, and incredible conversation. Thank
Yeah.
you.
You know, I often walk away from our shows feeling really like emboldened and lively about like being a craftsperson in the world, you know, being like a maker. And now I'm like getting that same vibe about being a viewer, which
Yeah.
is like
Absolutely.
incredible. Like I'm just like so like jazzed to go like watch Crusher Joe. You know, like that. What? Thank you, Abe.
I'm so glad.
I can't
This
believe
is all
it.
but this is all I
You've
want.
sold me.
This
You've
is all I
sold
want.
me on movies again. I was
I'm so
unsure
glad.
about them.
Movies are back,
I was on
baby.
the fence. Movies are back.
Cinema's
This is a movies
back,
only
baby.
podcast again.
No, it's
TV
not.
can
That's
take
right.
a hike. No, I love TV. TV's my favorite. I live for television.
But seriously though, Abe, this was a delight. Thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me.
Before we get to the final question and do our thank yous, please tell folks on the internet where they can find you and the kinds of stuff you're working on.
Well, at the moment, I've just been voicing a show called Boy, Girl, Dog, Cat, Mouse, Cheese, which is a really, really funny kids show. I play the mouse, and he's a mad scientist, and I just love him. Pokemon, I made a recent guest reappearance as Professor Kukui in Pokemon, I
Yes.
believe, Journeys in the new one. So he made a little comeback there. Honestly, like watch the Horror at Gallery K on Prime Video. I'm acting in commercials. You'll eventually see them probably, or not. Who knows?
Or if you have ad blockers, you won't.
Yeah, and I'm about to
Put your
I'm
turn
working
your ad
on-
blockers off and try and find Abe. That's the challenge.
That's the new challenge. Waste your nights. I'm working on finishing the second draft of a book I wrote, and we'll see how that turns out.
Ooh.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm just around. You know, I'm on Twitter at Abe
Yeah.
Goldfarb.
There you go.
You know, fucking bother me there, I guess. I'm not gonna
Yeah,
give you my
y-
number
also,
because that's weird.
A
It is a little
a
bit.
golden follow
golden
in
follow.
Abe Goldfarb
Absolutely.
on Twitter.
Absolutely.
Like,
Thank you so much.
yeah.
All right. Well, before we ask you our final
Anyway,
question,
that's me. Okay,
That's you. Okay.
Hey, Abe. That was your
that's
deal.
me as Richard
That's
Kind.
your-
Okay,
Okay.
that's
Okay.
my deal. You know
Your
me. I'm
deal.
Abe Goldfarb. It's my deal.
I love it. I love it.
Genius.
All right. Oh, okay. Yes. Okay. That's me.
It's
very
The
good.
treasure that is Richard Kind.
Thank you.
Uh,
A
a
legend.
legend.
And a very nice
Very
man.
nice man. Very privileged to have met him
As
once.
nice as you would ever hope.
Sweet, 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 sweet man. Before we,
He's also an easy crier. He came to a dress rehearsal of Beetlejuice and was just weeping, and it was the sweetest thing I've ever
that's
seen.
so lovely.
I was like, please, I wanted to like comfort him. I was like, I have to go do this scene, but like, I just want to like give you some tissues and like hold your hands and tell you it's gonna be okay, Richard Kind. What a legend.
What a legend. I love it.
Anyway, you had a question.
So
probably.
yes, we're gonna ask you our final question in
Okay, what's your question?
just a moment. We do.
You know, sometimes when you die in your home and your cat's alone, they will eat your face.
We'll eat your face. Before we get to that,
They don't want to. It's just they have no other options.
Yes, they do.
before we ask you that final,
You can hardly
fucking
blame
want
them.
it. They want to eat your fucking face.
Thinking about it
they
all the
love
time.
it.
It's
They
okay.
act all
I've
demure.
lost control.
You know what they really want? They want to get a few bites out of that
Yeah,
fucking
you know when
face.
they make biscuits in your lap, they're just tenderizing your meat.
Your face is one big biscuit.
Some might say I never
Also,
had
like,
control.
Anyway, Matt, you had a Okay, Matt.
honestly, like I would say that my face is probably very delicious. There's a lot of marbling here.
Matt.
You
What's
know.
you had a question?
What are we doing? What's the show again?
What's the thing? Tell me about what is the
before
thing?
we
Tell me
get
that. What is the question you want to ask me?
Before we get to the final question,
I'm Richard
Rachel-
Kind, and I want to know the question. Okay.
Rachel and I have some people to thank first.
Yeah.
Rachel,
We do.
Okay.
who are you thanking?
Oh yeah. I
Say it, thank
I really
yous.
wanna
Let's do
thank
this.
John I'm doing it. John Presnell for the song Aurora off the album Fair Game featuring Stefan Remble. It is such a bop, such a smash.
We are very lucky.
What a hype machine of a song.
We're very lucky to have it as our theme music.
I love it.
I also want to thank the incredible Katie Bug, who designed our incredible show art. We adore you, Katie. Thank you for making it.
Yes, and thank you to the Certain Point of View Podcast Network for not firing us yet again, though I am unsure after all the face-eating and poop dildo talk we did on this one if we will be back in a
Who
fortnight.
knows?
I love you, Case.
We love you, Case.
All your punctuation is perfect.
Don't fire us.
I'm not even mad. Please don't fire us.
If you want to know more about this show and the other shows on the Incredible Network, you can go to certainpov.com. You can also find a permanent invite link to our Discord server and check out a bunch of the other shows that we do. We also have an email address where you can ask us your questions, give us guest suggestions at screensnarkpod@gmail.com. We're screen_snark on Twitter. And if you have a moment, please give us a rating and review. It helps more folks find us on the
Gmail.
show.
It's where all the kids are. Gmail's where all the people are. You can email them at the Gmail.
At the Gmails.
Okay.
But now that we've gotten our thank yous out of the way, Rachel, why don't you ask our guest our final question?
Yes, I'm so excited to hear this answer.
Okay.
More excited than I've been in a while about it. So, Abe, in the long storied history of storytelling, there are many tropes that have appeared in cinema language. And I'm wondering if you could instantly and magically choose one movie trope.
Oh yeah, I got this.
To be true in your life, what would it be?
Yeah, I know exactly what this is. I mean, the greatest movie trope is the "oh shit, it's on" moment, which is the moment when like there's just an understanding between characters that shit is on. That's my favorite. I mean, there's a great one in Godzilla. You know, Let Them Fight. That's when
Let Them Fight.
That's when the movie's like,
I was
oh
gonna
shit,
say.
it's on. Or like Rolling
Yeah.
Thunder with William Devane and Tommy Lee Jones, where fucking Devane shows up to his house and Jones just goes, I'll get my things, and it's like, oh, it's on. Or 13 Assassins, when like the guys hold up the scroll that says Total Massacre, and you're like, oh shit, it is on. And like honestly, that's I live for oh shit, it's on energy. That's what I live for in my life. The moment of like just electrifying presence in the moment when something shifts.
Yeah, the bride is just standing in the Japanese restaurant and the motorcycles come up. You're just like, oh.
And you're like, oh shit, it's on. Oh Jesus Christ.
Oh,
Oh.
God, it's me,
Oh,
Richard Kind, and
fucking-
I'm crying because the shit is on.
Fucking goddamn it! It's so on. Who
can't do it.
who left it on? Was it on? Turn it off.
Someone should turn it off.
I want to thank our guest, Richard Kind. No, I'm kidding. I want to.
Richard Kind, come on the
Okay.
show. Look at us. We already know how to
Okay.
interview you. We did it. This is our trial
Sounds
run.
good.
We did it.
In all
you, Richard.
seriousness,
You're welcome.
Abe, thank you so much for coming on the show. You are a
Thank
light.
you so much, Abe.
We appreciate you. Thank you so much for
Thank you
being
for
here.
having me.
This time was precious
Thank
to
you.
me. Thank you.
Thank you for having me. It's so good to
we-
see it. So good to see both of you. My God, it's been so long. I have to walk my dog now. He's starting to make noises.
So we will wrap this thing
Oh,
up.
yeah. Did you hear my
Okay.
cat?
Yes. Okay.
Yeah, for your
I,
dog.
Okay.
I want to thank also my incredible, beautiful, stunning, and charming co-host, Rachel Quirky Shank.
Oh, and I want to thank my delightful and honest and Fortnite and my Fortnite co-host Matt. I can't
fine.
do what you do. I can't pull them out like that. My co-host Matt is wonderful, and I love him so much, and words can't explain it. So there's that. We're older than all the dogs that are on the planet right now, so we should go.
Why drop that truth bomb? Of course, thank you, listeners.
Every time, I'll never not.
Thank you,
Release
thank you,
the
champion.
shank cut.
Release the shank cut. Thank you for listening to this incredibly long version of Screen Snark. We love each and every one of you. You are the reason we do this show.
Yeah,
Thank
you're
you-
okay.
Thank you for listening. We will see you at the movies or on a couch somewhere. Bye-bye.
Aurora, 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 Aurora. Metal to magnet, she will be mine. Aurora.
Okay.
Everyone can stop their audio now.
Oh boy.
Can you believe we've been friends for 7 years?
And it all started because I compared you to Alana the Lioness.
Tamara Pierce really set the tone of our friendship.
A love of magic,
Briar Moss,
fantasy,
Briar Moss,
powerful women, and of course,
Briar Moss. I'm Anna,
And I'm MJ,
and we invite you to join our circle of friendship.
where we do a chapter-by-chapter deep dive into the Circle of Magic series by Tamara Pierce.
We answer important questions like, how does Moonstream let certain dedicates take care of children?
Can you imagine anyone else but Mandy Patinkin playing Nico?
Knives, Briar?
And
Knives?
join us every other Monday at cofpodcast.libsyn.com or wherever you download podcasts.
But seriously, knives?
CertainPOV.com.